Positive Spin, presenting positive, innovative, and solution-oriented news from around the world. Today on Positive Spin,
Mahatma Gandhi stood for respect, equality, and freedom. Simply, he stood for peace.
I feel such a duty to all of them to share their stories because what they're going through makes what I am doing so insignificant.
Decision either contributing to the climate crisis
Or preventing it.
Every action, in some way, either destroying nature,
our personal decisions
create a universal domino effect.
And right now,
the pieces aren't falling in our favor.
Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion to imagine all the people living life in peace.
On today's program, we honor the memory of Arum Gandhi, grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, peace advocate and educator. And we'll hear from the activists who ran 200 marathons to give focus to the world's water crisis. Then we'll profile the work of the environmental activists from the United States who won the 2023 Goldman Prize. After that, we'll present the World Wildlife Fund's urgent message that the moment is now for saving the environment. Finally, we'll attend the annual World Jazz Day concert at the UN hosted by jazz legend Herbie Hancock.
The worldwide impact of Mohandas Gandhi's philosophy of peace is often discussed, but these days it's his grandson, Dr. Arum Gandhi, who encourages people not to ignore individual responsibility in promoting a nonviolent world.
Speaking here in Aurora last week, Dr. Arum Gandhi passed on wisdom he learned from his grandfather, whom he lived with as a child.
Mahatma Gandhi stood for respect, equality, and freedom. Simply, he stood for peace. And while Gandhi was assassinated over 6 decades ago, his grandson Arum Gandhi has made it his life mission to carry on his grandfather's legacy. For years, Dr. Arum Gandhi has traveled the world advocating for nonviolence and peace. And most recently, he made his way to Aurora to speak with students and adults alike, kicking off the season of nonviolence.
The young people are the leaders of tomorrow. They are going to inherit this world. And whether they continue with the culture of violence that we have introduced all these years and destroy this world, or make it a better place for future generations is entirely up to them.
A season of nonviolence began in 1998. It was the 50th anniversary of Gandhi's death, and that same year was the 30th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King's. In light of those tragic assassinations, Arum Gandhi and his wife decided to start a season of nonviolence.
Inspire communities all over the country to do whatever they could to take us a few steps closer to the dream that both the people shared, both Gandhi and King shared, which was to create a society where peace and harmony would prevail.
Students listened intently at Aurora's Central High School as Gandhi's grandson encouraged peace and respect.
We get angry and we act in that moment of anger, we act in the moment of madness, and we destroy our own life. We may destroy the life of the person who caused the anger, but in the process we destroy our own life.
I hope that they walked away with some hope, because I think that our youth today, they don't have a lot of hope that the world is going to be different than what it looks like today.
The really big message that stood out to me was the message that through violence, there's a lot of negative energy, and if we channel all that negative energy to become positive energy, it makes us better people, but not only that, but on a larger scale, it makes the whole world and society a better place.
After his message, students spoke about their experience meeting Arum Gandhi and the impact of his words.
It's a historical thing. I mean, he lived with Mahatma Gandhi. I mean, he was there with him, and he learned by him. So I think this is one of the best ways to learn, and taking what he said and just implementing that to others, I think that's what's most important, and to help others see how we can get rid of violence and hate and implement peace.
While Arun spoke mostly of his grandfather's teachings, he also spoke briefly of him simply as a grandfather and how much he deeply misses him.
I miss his company, and I miss the fact that I was so young when he was alive and working. I wish I was older with more wisdom and more brains to jot things down and keep a record of it. Unfortunately, I was just a naughty little 12-year-old boy, and I didn't have that brains to do this.
Well, he certainly remembered enough to carry on his legacy of love and peace.
I today value all the things that he taught me, and I think that transformed my life, and I hope it will transform the lives of people I share this message with.
Gandhi now lives in the U.S. and is the founder of the M.K. Gandhi Institute for Nonviolence at the University of Rochester, New York. You can learn more about Arum Gandhi and his teachings of nonviolence at gandhiforchildren.org. You can see Dr. Gandhi's entire speech on YouTube. That's youtube.com/The Aurora Channel.
Water isn't just everything, it's the only thing. And I think it's time for people's voices to be heard. I run because I want to show the sense of urgency that we have in front of us. I run because I want to go to the front lines of this crisis. I want to go there with my feet because I want others to join. I want others to have the capacity to come with me and show me their stories. If I did it any other way, I would bypass so many of the pearls of wisdom that I've heard from ordinary people in ordinary places. Over the last couple of years, I've run through places that have run out of water. I've met farmers that are struggling to get access to water. I've met communities where they have used so much groundwater from underneath the surface that entire sinkholes have opened up. For too long, people in the halls of power have ignored or been too distant from the places where the problems are. People want to collapse the gap between those living in cities and those living in rural places. People want to collapse the gap of knowledge and awareness because they understand that when you collapse that gap, we solve the problem. It's tempting to think that water is one of those things that's a problem far away. It's a problem for a developing economy. It's an Africa problem. It's an India problem. We brand problems as being for someone else. But the global nature of our supply chains means that water is everybody's business. Because without water, we have no food and no fiber and no power. Without water, we literally, as so many people have told me around the world, we have no life. And I feel an immense weight of responsibility, to be honest, from all the stories and all the people that I've met. I feel such a duty. I feel such a duty to all of them to share their stories, because what they're going through makes what I am doing so insignificant. Women and girls risking their lives, farmers losing their livelihoods, fishermen who've watched their rivers and lakes dry up before their eyes and who sit there in front of me begging me, please tell these people this is a real crisis and we need them to act. When we think about it as small steps, it becomes so much more doable. When we think about these big challenges as big challenges, we get completely overwhelmed, we walk away and they never happen. So the important message from this is that you don't have to be an athlete. I'm not an athlete, I didn't grow up running. I don't like running, I'm really bad at running, I'm incredibly slow and I get distracted by everything. But that doesn't matter as long as I'm taking steps in the right direction. There are solutions. Just not paying attention to the problem.
Calhoun County's Matagorda Bay on the Texas Gulf Coast is home to more than 300 bird species and a diverse marine ecosystem that once sustained thriving local fisheries. Today, the bay's survival is threatened by severe contamination from the petrochemical industry, including Formosa Plastics, the region's biggest manufacturer of thermoplastic resins. Fisherwoman turned activist Diane Wilson began fighting Formosa over 30 years ago.
Formosa Plastics is an international polluter known for retaliation against activists and workers who speak out. You knew nothing about what they were making, what they were emitting, and then all the dolphins started dying. And it was scary.
As the ecosystem collapsed, Diane took action. She investigated sources of toxic waste in the bay, organized community meetings, and questioned regulatory agencies. But it seemed Formosa was above the law.
I would have workers who would call me telling me about spills, about burying drums, having ditches running with the chemicals out into a field, and there was no enforcement.
Diane's efforts to hold Formosa accountable were met by anonymous threats of violence as well as inaction by regulatory agencies, suggesting widespread corruption. But a turning point came in 2008 when a Formosa whistleblower informed Diane that the company was manipulating Clean Water Act violations.
He proceeded to tell me about the pellets. Formosa makes 1 trillion pellets or nurdles a day, and they lose a lot of the powder and the pellets through 10 stormwater outfalls, and so Formosa was discharging this plastic everywhere. And they have been doing this for 27 years. Yep, they're all in the grass.
Nurdles, the tiny building blocks of all plastic products, are highly persistent pollutants that act like toxic sponges, concentrating harmful chemicals that contaminate the ecosystem when birds, fish, and turtles mistakenly consume them. With renewed focus, Diane organized a team of waterkeepers to help her document and report nurdle pollution. She identified discharge points and conducted daily sampling by land and sea.
This area, the entire thing was solid pellets.
Diane ramped up awareness and gained media attention, but complaints to regulatory agencies continued to fall on deaf ears. So, in 2017, armed with indisputable evidence, she engaged Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid to formally sue Formosa for violations of the U.S. Clean Water Act. Her team enlisted expert witnesses and presented 2,400 samples of documented nurdle contamination. Thanks to Diane's tireless efforts, the case was a slam dunk. In December 2019, a federal judge found Formosa to be a serial offender with extensive historical and repetitive violations of the law.
They were guilty, so basically it was going to be $50 million, zero discharge, enforcement, and we pick where the money goes.
Diane's hard-won victory represents the largest civil settlement in Clean Water Act history. Formosa has also spent more than $450 million to remediate damaged shorelines and reach zero discharge of plastics. Diane continues to monitor and report violations while ensuring that settlement funds are used to restore the environment and uplift her community.
It will educate the public, it will educate the plants, it will revive the fisheries, it will help nationally to set a standard, to set a precedent. The plastic age needs to end.
For outstanding environmental achievement for North America, the 2023 Goldman Environmental Prize is awarded to Diane Wilson, Calhoun County, Texas, United States.
The moments that changed the course of history were once just a flame, a flicker, a flight, a fist, a click,
a sign. Moments whose true impact may not have been felt the day or the week after, but years later.
Moments where one ordinary human
unknowingly affected humankind.
We may not realize it,
but moments like these are unfolding every day,
affecting our one home
and us.
Every decision either contributing to the climate crisis
or preventing it.
Every action in some way either destroying nature and biodiversity
or protecting and restoring it. Our personal decisions
create a universal domino effect.
And right now,
the pieces aren't falling in our favor.
What we do to our planet,
we do to ourselves.
We aren't just living through history.
We are shaping it with every action we take.
And we're shaping it for generations to come.
The race is on
to turn things around.
But time is not on our side.
So if you've ever dreamed of making history,
now's your chance. Even the smallest actions,
when multiplied by 8 billion,
can make a world of difference
in how our story unfolds.
After all, if one person is all it takes to write a new chapter,
just imagine what we could achieve
if we all work
together to restore our planet.
Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. nothing to kill or die for, and no religion to imagine all the people living life in peace.
You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. And I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today.
Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or to die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Oh,
I begin to love. Why do much you I hope someday you will join us. Aduna mandon ben. Aduna ban kone lan mo la gana. Jamma to gana. Asaman ban kone lan mo la gana. Jamma to gana.
빈손으로 가는데 탐욕과 굶주림 없이 모두가 하나 되는 그런 세상을 꿈꿔 함께 나누는.
You may say that I'm a dreamer. Oh, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be at one. Oh, the world will be at one.
My name is Michael Nuri, and I am truly honored to serve as your host and to welcome you to the annual Peace Education Day Conference. Are we ready when we're faced with conflict, violence, inequity, and injustice? And if that's how we approach peace, just making it up as we go along, what do we think the outcome will be? Look around the globe and we can see the answer. Today we'll hear from some of the planet's leading peace educators. They are joining us from all over the globe. Africa, Asia, America, Australia, and Europe. Together we'll be answering the question, why peace education? We must prepare ourselves and our children with the education, the skills, and the know-how to practice peace in every corner of the world.
Thank you for watching Positive Spin. This show was made possible through the generosity of the Patty and Jack Wright Foundation and the Prem Rawat Foundation. Watch and subscribe to our previous episodes on YouTube, and please like us on Facebook. Follow us on Free Speech TV, Roku, Sling, DirecTV, Dish Network, and Apple TV. I'm Bill McCarthy. Stay safe and healthy, and remember, you can create your own positive news.